Hello, this is wmpyr here to talk about the Lapu-Lapu Corto Katana knife. Both of these have the katana blade shape. The larger one is the Magnum size, and the smaller one is the standard size. I was actually surprised that the even the pocket clip on the Magnum was larger. Uh, the handle's larger, the blade is larger, the jimping feels larger as well, and when you're holding it like so in the close position, it's obviously going to give you more real estate. So that's very, very nice. And, the weight that you feel. So when you're making striking motions like that, it's obviously going to help out with that. When putting it in your pocket for like EDC, it's really going to depend, I believe, in what you're used to. So if you're used to carrying like a firearm, then this is nothing, obviously. But if you're used to this, then you're going to feel like, whoa, this is very, very heavy. So really depends from that point of view. And that being said, let me make it very clear that the standard right here is not a small knife. So the way that I could compare it is like, let's say a Spyderco Delica to me is a medium-sized knife, maybe slightly on the smaller end, but I still consider it a medium-sized knife. And all of the Lapu-Lapu Corto standard size knives, regardless of the blade shape, they all feel a lot bigger than the Delica. So, like I said, this is not a small knife. It's not huge, but it's definitely not small. But when you go from this to the Magnum, it feels small. Suddenly, this I'm like, wow, this is. It almost feels very light and tiny because I've been messing around with this guy, and you kind of get used to this. So it's all a matter of getting used to. So my main point here is that there is actually a significant difference between the two, even though it might be difficult to see from photos or just from the video. So let's take out the blade. Boom, right there, and bam, right there. Okay. This one right here, obviously, the real estate once again on the handle is very, very nice. It's thicker. You feel the weight solid in your hands. The shape right here, it just feels like, you're not going to drop it. It's going to be difficult to take this out of my hands. The ergonomics is also very nice. It has that pistol shaped grip, areas that you could like really wrap your fingers around. So, of course, and same thing with over here because I'm talking about shape there. But yeah, the weight, the width, the length, those are different, of course. And I mean, it's almost to the point where we could almost say like it's like a short sword. But some knives I've seen, they are like ridiculously huge. To me, this goes right up to the point where if it was any bigger, I could call it ridiculously huge. It's large enough, but it doesn't quite get to that point. Some people like those ridiculously huge ones because, you know, um, they're just comfortable with that. They're comfortable with really really big knives, and I understand that. Like if you handle short swords, machetes, tomahawks, and stuff, then you might want your knife almost as large as possible, like a Bowie knife, something like that. And I completely understand that. But then for other people, they look at it those as like a novelty knife. And like I said, this does not feel like a novelty knife. It's large enough, but not so large that it doesn't cross into that area. Um, but both of these share the same type of blade design, the katana blade design. And when you look at it, it's a fairly simple looking blade shape. If you look at an American Tanto style, it's kind of similar, but it's just more rounded. And the main difference I'd say compared to most blade shapes is the spine right here. The spine is basically unaltered, other than for the tip part right there. See, it goes from here to here, and it's not. There's no swedge, no nothing right there. So that makes for a very strong spine, which is very interesting. Okay, that's to me very unique and therefore the fuller because all this is spine, so I can understand, and it's heavy enough. Even though, like compared to some other blade shapes, this is not as wide, and it doesn't have to be once again because there's so much strength over here on the spine. Same with this guy. If you look at the back right here, so that's kind of a unique design right there to make the spine so strong. And from my understanding, that's one of the characteristics of a katana sword. So personally, I think that the standard model makes a great EDC knife. Obviously, also especially in the direction of self defense and stuff. And the Magnum is, I think, really really great for home defense, especially because of the size and everything. All right, so that's it for now. Thank you for listening and take care, folks.